Hello everyone and Happy New Year. I'm Lindsay from Happy Hour Stitches, and I thought it would be fun in 2026 to just pop in each month to kind of share what's going on in my sewing room, what's going on in my life, what I'm working on, and do little recaps. So I'm joining you on January 1st today. And I wanted to share a little bit about my quilty goals for the year. So for Christmas, I got a new planner, which I'm very excited about. If you're a planner person, this is the Clever Fox planner. It's my favorite brand of planners. It's pretty thick. This is just for a year. So I've spent kind of the day kind of dreaming and planning and making to-do lists, which is one of my favorite things to do. And just kind of thinking about my goals for the year. And it's been a few years actually since I've made any goals at all. And so I'm coming back strong this year, and I have goals for my personal life and for my quilting life. So I just wanted to share those with you all so you can keep me accountable this year if you see I'm not making progress on my goals as we do these monthly little check-ins. So my first goal I have, which is the most important one, I think, is to sew at least twice a week. Now, that might not be a lot to some people, but for me, it will be. And I've kind of spent definitely last year, I only sewed for happy hour stitches. So I only sewed projects for my business. And it was a little stressful because I was always trying to hit a deadline. So I was, kind of frantically sewing patterns together, testing things, or I was sewing while on camera, filming videos or tutorials. So it never felt like fun, relaxing sewing to me. And it always felt a little rushed. So I am looking forward this year to having more time to sew personal projects. And just enjoy creative time in my sewing room again instead of only sewing for deadlines or to-do lists. So I'm hoping this twice a week gets me back in the habit of sewing regularly instead of just when I have a deadline to meet, and gives me a little freedom to experiment with other patterns or just see where ideas take me. And I'm hoping that these 2 days a week maybe turn into 3, maybe 4 days a week as I get excited about projects I'm working on or get a little bit of that spark of creativity. So we'll see how it goes. I've already sewed one time this week, so we'll get one more time in soon. I have my sewing machine ready to go. But that brings me to my second goal of the year, which is, here, let me turn this guy around. So I got a new sewing machine back in November. My old sewing machine was having some computer issues, and it was at the point where I could either pay to get the computer issues fixed or I could pay to get a new machine. And I've only ever sewed on very basic sewing machines, like the basic models, the cheaper ones, my whole sewing life. So I thought it was time to upgrade my machine just a little. And so I landed on, this is the Elnita EF72 machine, which I love. And for those of you who don't know, Janome owns Elna. So if this machine looks familiar to your Janome, it's because it does. It's basically the same model as the Janome machines, it's just under a different brand. In fact, the only reason I ended up getting the Elna over the Janome was because the Elna was this teal color and the Janome was red. And I just liked this color better. So selfishly, it was all about looks when I was picking up my final machine. But there's just some issues I'm running into with this machine, which is because I've only sewed very, very basic machines my whole life, this is fancy. There's lots of buttons. There's so many settings and different stitches on this machine. It came with so many accessories and attachments, and it's just set up, differently than my other machines were. So I'm getting used to sewing on it and just being able to do basic straight lines and figuring out kind of some tension problems I was having. But I know this machine can do so much more. So I did a quick read through of the manual, but I really want to spend time with this machine this year and reading the manual and trying all the different attachments and trying the different settings and stitches and just seeing what I love about it. And then feeling confident using it, because right now I'm still like fingers crossed when I do it, like that it is sewing for me. So I'm excited about this, but I do need to learn a lot more about this machine. Okay, I just did a little pause so I could pull out my next set of goals here, and they're all project based. So let's start with this one. So back in 2023, I started, here, I'll show you these are my scrap storage. It's not fancy. I started cutting all my leftover fabric into strips of just whatever length they would come out as. And I sorted them by color, and then they just grew and grew and grew and they got out of control. Like, it exploded. So I started making pineapple blocks, just using the scraps. Like, it's a perfect strip project. Just making them rainbow, and it was such a good project. And I had no plan for it. I was using this pineapple trim tool from Creative Grids. So I was just using this ruler and whatever scraps I had on hand to make these blocks, and I have 8 blocks so far. And this is my only work in progress right now. So I have completed all of my UFOs, all my other projects. It's just this one that's hanging out, and it has been for a few years now. So I really want to finish this, kind of use up all the scraps I can, and I might keep cutting them into strips. I might start doing squares and find a different kind of scrappy pattern to do using squares instead of strips. But I love these blocks so much, and this is like one of my favorite patterns. I don't know how many blocks I'm gonna make. I don't really have a plan, but I only have 8 right now, so I definitely think I would need at least 30 blocks to make like a throw quilt. So it's my goal to finish this quilt this year. And one of the reasons it kind of got pushed to the side was because this ruler, while it's fantastic, I forget how to use it every single time. So every time I put this project away for a little bit and I come back to it, I have to read the instructions for this ruler again and figure out how to cut things and sew things, and then it takes me a while to figure out the color order I was doing on these blocks. So once I have this out and I'm constantly working on it, I won't have that big hurdle to overcome when I'm sewing. So I'm hoping if I'm sewing at least twice a week, that this will come a little faster and natural. And even if I just did like a round or 2 on the pineapple blocks each day I sew, that could be real progress. So that's one of my goals for this year, to finish this. I think it's going to be one of my favorite quilts I've ever made. I can already tell. I just love scrappy rainbow quilts, so I'm excited about where that one's going. And I'm excited to get my scraps lessened. Okay. Oh, all my projects are in big boxes. I'm gonna keep this one here because it's so heavy. But another goal I have this year is to make my husband a t-shirt quilt. I have made 2 t-shirt quilts in my life, and I have not loved the process. So actually this box full of t-shirts, we actually moved from our previous home to this home. So it's been with us a long time, and my husband keeps adding to it. And I don't know how many t-shirts are in here, like 30, 40, I have no idea. Much more than is needed for a t-shirt quilt. But this box is taking up so much room in our closet and I want that space back for like clothes we wear. And I want these t-shirts out of my house. And I do think it'll be meaningful to, my husband is a musician, so he has just a lot of band t-shirts over the years, or concerts he's been to, or just some other fun, meaningful shirts from his childhood. So I think it'll be a really fun quilt for him to have, and just kind of showcase all of his creativity and all of his memories of stuff over the years of all his bands. So I need to tackle that, but he has so many shirts. I'm not sure, I might end up making like a double-sided t-shirt quilt just so we can get as many in as possible. And I need to figure out, one of the t-shirt quilts I've made, I used like a stabilizer on the back, and one I used like a leave-in starch where you just soak the t-shirts and let it dry. So that one was kind of messy, although I did like how it worked. So if I do that method, I'll wait until summer so that I can put all the t-shirts outside for them to dry. But otherwise, stabilizer is just a little of a neater, cleaner experience. So I might end up going with that, but wish me luck on this, and wish my husband luck narrowing down the shirts he wants in his quilt. Besides that, there's two other projects I'm hoping to accomplish this year. One is to make like a decorative poof. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but I just rearranged our living room last year, and we got a new chair that we moved in, which is like my chair. My husband gets the couch and I get the chair, and I spend a lot of time in the chair reading, watching TV. But it doesn't have anything to put your legs up on. So a lot of times I'll just cross my legs on the chair or sit weird, and it's making my knees hurt. So I need some sort of like footrest. So I'm gonna make some sort of thing I can put my feet on. So I have some ideas, and I just bought a bunch of stuffing. So I'm gonna just to stuff it with. So hopefully I get that done soon, because I've been reading a lot now that it's cold out, and I just want to be cozy. And then the last sewing project I want to do this year, it's more of like an overall thing I want to do, which is, so I volunteer every week at the animal shelter in our community, which I love. I've been doing that for a little more than a year. So every week I go and I take care of our kitties. And so this year I really wanted to find new ways to help the shelter that maybe didn't involve me needing to be there more. So I actually emailed them and was just like, hey, I sew. Is there anything you need for the shelter that I could sew? Or any donations of crafting supplies you could use? Like, I really want to be able to help more. And they got back to me right away and said, yes, they actually sew. They have curtains that they put over kennels if a cat or a dog is overstimulated or just needs a little privacy or quiet. And they also have like coverings for carrying cases for when they're doing transport of animals. So I'm headed to the shelter this weekend, and she said she'd have more information waiting for me. So I'm hoping there's some patterns I can follow, and then I can start sewing those as I have time. So I just wanted a way to use my skills to help my community. So that's going to be a really meaningful project for me to do. Yeah, so those are my goals for the year. There's one more goal I have, which I have nothing to show because it's still in development, but some of you may know that I ran a free block of the month last year. It's this quilt behind me, and I loved doing it for free. I was really craving just community and friendship, and finding creative time in each month to sew, and so that was a great project for it, and I did it for free. But this year, the block of the month I'm running you have to pay for it, which is good because I'm running a business. I need to make money, obviously, but I do understand that not everyone has the resources to pay for these kind of community building projects. So it's my goal to design a free sampler type quilt that we can all sew along together. It's going to be fall themed. So probably that free quilt along, free pattern will come out maybe in later summer, and then we can sew together into the fall to make that. So I have some ideas about it, but watch for that if you love fall quilts and you love free sew-alongs. I'm missing that community and just being able to give back and form those nice relationships between quilters. So that's coming. So that's one of my other goals. So yeah, I'm gonna try to shove this box back in the closet, and I'm gonna keep this out because I want to be able to sew my pineapple blocks. But yeah, those are my goals. So I'd love to know your goals if you want to tell me in the comments so I can cheer you on, and I will make sure I update everyone on progress as we get to all the projects this year. Hello everyone, I'm back. It is January 11th, so I thought I would do a little check-in. I'm sewing today. I'm making some progress on my pineapple blocks. So I have been keeping up with my 2 times a week sewing. In fact, this will be my 3rd time this week. And I've been making progress on some secret projects that I can't share with you, but this is how much I got done on one of my pineapple blocks this week. So I'm hoping to finish this block today, and that will be an accomplishment, but it's just a cozy Sunday here. So you can see I'm wearing my In My Cat Mom Era sweater that I got from our local animal shelter. I'm drinking some honey turmeric tea, which is so warming on this cold day we're getting. And I'm going to light this quilty themed candle. It's called Need a Little Calm. So funny. It has lavender and eucalyptus. It smells so good. I've never lit it before, so I'm gonna put that off camera. It's not gonna be close to my fabric at all, but we're just gonna have a little Sunday self-care in the sewing room here. And I have all my boxes of scraps out. We're just gonna sew and see where this project takes us. here is my finished block. Once I get in the swing of things, these don't take very long. It just takes me a while to get into it and plan the colors and everything. But I'm really loving this one. I just love scrappy quilts. And I thought I would share my scrap bins with you. So I have them separated for this project into my low volumes and then all my colors, and they're kind of in their little color piles. So when I'm cutting fabrics and I'm done with them and I just have random amounts left, I'll cut them into scraps. These blocks need scraps that are at least 1 3/4 inches wide. So I make sure to cut them at least that wide. But if they're larger, I'll just leave them as is. And you can see I have, like leftover binding strips I've just thrown in here. I have scraps of all kind of sizes. And then I do have larger pieces. So I'm getting lazy I need to cut these into my scraps. But when I'm getting down to, these are all fat quarters, I'm not going to be able to use this for anything other than a scrap quilt. It's a smaller piece of fabric. So I'll go and cut these into little strips here. And then I do have 2 full fat quarters, and these prints are just not my style of fabric, so I wouldn't necessarily use them when they're featured largely in a quilt, but I will cut these up into smaller pieces and they'll be great for a scrap quilt. So I actually might need to, it looks like I have a lot of scraps, but you go through them pretty quickly when you're making these larger blocks. So I actually might need to do a nice little declutter of my stash and find fabrics like this where I have awkward amounts left or just fabrics I probably won't use for other projects and cut them into strips so I can make lots of beautiful pineapple blocks. So yeah, fun. Hello everybody, I'm just doing a little check-in here. It is January 24th, so we're doing lots of fun things in my sewing room, but I have been keeping up with sewing at least a few times a week, which feels really good. And so I did say one of my goals this year was to use my skills to help our local animal shelter. So I did reach out to them about sewing, and they had little cute sewing kits available for some blankets. So I'm sewing these today. It is negative temperatures outside and we got snow. It's very cold. So it's the perfect day to stay inside and sew. And so the kits they gave are, it's like one flannel pillowcase and one cotton pillowcase. And so I thought it was kind of fun that one of the kits I got was snowman themed. It felt very fitting. So essentially, I'm cutting these pillowcases to size, and then, let me get this folded here. And then you can see here, I have 2 of the flannel pillowcases right sides together, and then 2 of the cotton pillowcases together here. And then we just sew them together all the way around. We leave a little opening and then we flip it right sides out and top stitch all the way around. And then we have nice little blankets. And the pillowcases are actually the perfect size. Let me show you. So this size is about half of the width of one of the kennels for cats. So this is just a nice little blanket they can lay down in half of their kennels to kind of create a nice little cozy bed situation. It's flannel, so it'll be warm for them. So I'm just happy to do this. So they gave me kits to make 4 blankets. So I'll finish those up today. And now that I know the sizes they're doing and how to make them, I can start using my own fabrics, or if I see flannel go on sale somewhere, I can purchase this myself, and I can just continuously make these as I have time or extra material, and that feels really good. So I'm just gonna start sewing these and then we'll get nice little cozy warm blankets for our cat friends. Okay, I've finished sewing using a 1/2 inch seam allowance just because flannel can sometimes need a larger seam allowance. It's a little slippery of a material. And I did clip the corners to help prevent bulk. And now I'm just gonna go through a little opening I left in one side and flip it right side out. Like a little snowman face peeking through. Okay, now I'm just gonna go in with just my fingers and just push out the corners. Just make it as squared up as possible. And then I'm just gonna go through and top stitch around it. And as I'm top stitching, I'm gonna turn the opening under, sew right along that to close it up.